And joining us right now from the Chicago Fire, Mike Matkovich. Mike, welcome back to Toronto first and foremost. Great session you put out there. You had the coaches engaged. You brought some seriousness, but you also brought some light humor, which I think is important. Talk about that.
Yeah, I just think it's important, when you coach, you just be yourself. I think too many times guys get all wrapped up in the methodology and things, and for me, it's about creating the environment where guys get better and pushing them along, and that's the most important thing when you coach. Principles of the game always come out, those types of things, but I think you got to have a little fun when you coach as well.
Mike, I know you for a couple years now. You like to learn. You're a student of the game. You want to learn every day. How important it is to break through some of these younger and even older coaches here today to make them understand we're all here to learn? What challenge was it for you to prepare something for them to make them understand, I want you to go away with something?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for any coach is 10,000-hour rule. I mean, like anything you do in life, you only get better when you work at it. So it's great to see this many coaches come out and work at their craft. I've done it for years. It's been 30-plus years now, and I think there's no greater teacher than the game itself. And I think it's just like a player. Just get in environments, listen, learn, and, you pick up ideas. Maybe a guy says something a certain way. Maybe he's got a twist to an activity you like, and, then take it back to your environment. I mean, everybody's environments are different. Maybe they coach women, maybe they coach men, maybe they coach senior players, maybe they coach young kids, maybe they're down to U10s and belows, and so just adapting to all that, and I think just making good sense out of it. But I think it's great to see this many coaches come out, and anytime you can better yourself, it's at the end of the day, it's for the game and the kids.
Absolutely. Mike, they say the game has changed so much the last few years. I don't agree with that. I don't know where you stand on that, but I think the game is a simple game. It's a beautiful game. Why sometimes do coaches want to try and reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's the more it changes, the more it stays the same. So, I had bell-bottom jeans and I had my long hair in the back when I had hair, and now it was 3-5-2 back then. Now we're talking about 3-5-2 again 20 years later. So, the evolution of things. I think when you get older, you get wiser and you see things different. I think things just kind of cycle around. So I don't know if there's really that much change. I think the change has come with, from the federations, whether Canada or the U.S., of putting more money into the game, and the pro league getting developed, and more, there's more of a long-term stance in the game. So I see the changes that way. But when it comes down to players and developing and coaching, it's still the same X's and O's as it was. And look, you always got to be on the cutting edge and what's the newest things in. And a few years ago it was all about pressing. And when you look at the higher level, how long can you press when you play a 12-month season? You're traveling in the U.S. and different climates and that. So the practicality all comes in. So I would just say the more it changes, the more it stays the same.
Absolutely. Mike, the last thing before we let you go is all over Europe there's an identity that they infiltrate from the national team down to the youth clubs. I got to be honest, in North America, I've still yet to see that. I know Jurgen Klinsmann's trying to do that, Benito Floro's trying to do that. But again, at the youth clubs, everyone wants to go their own way. They have their own style, which I think is okay. But do you believe that they should have a specific identity so that if my son or daughter wants to be a great defender, they go to this club or an academy? What do you think?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I think there's a lot of validity to having some type of a style or a system. I'll use the U.S. for an example. For a long time, we had a very German-influenced background with Hedergaard and guys like that, and so I felt we were moving in a direction in that way. And then, in the last more recent years, we've kind of changed our focus and direction, and only time will tell if it's better or it's worse. And I think at the end of the day, it's difficult when you have a big country, same as Canada, and there's so much diversity of, ethnic people and different nationalities. And even in the U.S., you go to Florida, it's 105. You go to Chicago, it's 3 below. So that affects the environment too. So it's a tough one. I'd like to see some point where we evolve into some type of a style or a way. I think when you look at the U.S. and the academy, we've implemented this 4-3-3, and now we got our full team playing 3-5-2, and maybe he's just experimenting. And is it only the right way to play with one forward, or can you play with two? So these are all good questions, and I think it's good conversation. I think we need to have more of those. I don't think we do enough of that in the U.S. and where we actually talk about soccer more. It's like everybody's afraid to, because if you say something that's not with the norm, you get labeled, this guy's a bad guy, or blah, blah, blah. And that's not the case. I think it's, you look at the European model, they have a way, they've probably debated over the years, they've probably argued over the years to try and get it where it is. And, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to developing players. And both in Canada and the U.S., that's a big thing we need to keep looking at. We have a lot of guys playing, but how many guys are we really putting to the highest level? And I use our own national team. Where is our next Landon Donovan? So you can always flip the coin however you want it. You can be a self-promoter, you can be a self-basher, whatever it is, and everybody's got their angle how they play things. So I think it's a good question. I think it's something that I don't know who is the one that makes that decision. Is that is that just your culture? I know in the culture in the U.S., it's difficult because it's not a game where guys see it on television every day or it's in their blood. But it's changing. Guys that were playing 10 years ago are now our parents and having kids, and so it's starting to evolve. So probably the best way to answer to you right now, I think it's still an evolution. I don't think where we need to be. I think it's still the infant stages, and it may take another 20 to 30 years. Probably my lifetime I'll be gone, but we'll see.
Mike, great having you here. It's great seeing you back in the city of Toronto. A lot of old friends here. You got a special place in your heart for this city, I know. Really appreciate you bringing the knowledge to these young coaches, mature coaches. We need guys like you to come back and give back from what you learned from the game. Again, God bless. Safe trip back home, and thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.